Hello, again, I am Bonnie from Philippines. Okay. Since I have just started my graduate research, I don't think I have that much to say for now. So maybe it is good to talk a little something about what I'm doing as a field researcher or what I am doing before taking graduate study. 2 years ago, I finished a bachelor's degree in forestry at the University of the Philippines, where I took forest biological science as my major, and I specialized in environmental biology. I also work on exploring the potential of plant diversity resources for biofuel production during my undergraduate thesis. In college, I started to learn about forest research, forest ecology, and forest science, which was not my dream before. But I believe things fall at the right place, indeed. And here is what I am doing in the field as a field biologist. For the past 2 years, I've been working on understanding forest community dynamics and restoration ecology. I also enjoy learning tropical plants, and I embrace plant taxonomy, which I dream to be plant taxonomist in the future. When I start working, I am so fortunate because I was hired as I was hired in the university as a research associate, where my first job was the recensus of the Palanan Forest Dynamics plot. This plot is part of the global networks of permanent plots administered by the Center for Tropical Forest Science, and the plot at that time is having its fourth census since the establishment in 1994. After that, my research was about forest restoration dynamics, where the aim is to determine how restoration can be achieved through reforestation efforts. In fact, our pilot research was published in the Eurasian Journal of Forest Research, and we are still working on writing our following result from that study. And after 2 years of doing field research, I realized that I need further understanding about ecological research, ecology in general. And now I am taking Master of Science in Ecology and Conservation Biology under the supervision of Dr. Ferris Leak. So I am part of the Plant Geography Lab here in Sichuanbana Tropical Botanical Garden of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. So I just started, and I will be spending here for 3 years. I am still doing my research proposal, but definitely I will be doing a forest fragmentation research. And here I'll be starting to talk about my research plan. Okay. For humans, the importance of forest lies beyond the services and resources it offers. We view forest as an unlimited source of livelihood, and through this, it has led humans to intensify their activities in the forest through massive deforestation, which results in the degradation of forest ecosystem and biodiversity, and specifically in the tropical region. Deforestation resulting from land conversion, such as expansion of agricultural areas and infrastructure development, have become a major driver of fragmentation in tropical forests. Here in Sichuanbana, as we discussed earlier, conversion to rubber plantation have highly contributed to forest fragmentation. And given the current expanse of these forest fragments, understanding and measuring the impacts of fragmentation on tropical forest communities is vital in creating viable restoration and conservation strategies. Basically, I want to know the impact of forest fragmentation on understory microclimates and herbaceous community. And how does microclimate vary with fragment size, canopy structure, and herbaceous diversity and composition are one of the main questions I have in mind. And how do these gradients differ between wet and dry season? I am interested to do this research because there were only a few studies investigating the impact of fragmentation on herbaceous understory composition and dynamics. And to date, these interactions have been evaluated mostly for woody plants but not for herbs in the tropics. And indeed, isolating the effects of variation in understory microclimate will improve our understanding on the interaction between forest dynamics and climate, especially in a forest fragmented landscape. This is crucial for understanding the ecology and future of tropical forests. So why herbaceous cover? It is because herbaceous vegetation responds to light differs among species and varies between forest environments, resulting in patches of particular herb composition and structure. And in addition, understory herbaceous cover can possibly be used as indicator of habitat disturbance and heterogeneity because of their relative short lifespans and resiliency. Therefore, herbs reacts faster to environmental change than the woody vegetation. But despite the contribution of the herbaceous cover to overall forest diversity, our understanding of its dynamics and fragmented landscape remains limited. Our research sites is within the forest fragments as indicated in red on this map, within 10-kilometer radius of Sichuanbana Tropical Botanical Garden. For now, we are establishing 50 permanent plots in these fragments at different size and isolation. The forest here in Sichuanbana has also a mixed deciduous forest and of different forest types. Therefore, I want to take advantage of these habitat changes and including the seasonal changes on dry and wet period will exhibited in the fragments in response to local climate and herbaceous vegetation composition. To quantify the variations in microclimate and herbaceous diversity and composition within these fragments, I will be collecting data on herb cover, canopy structure, and understory temperature and humidity. And I will be using the Brown-Blanke method to measure understory metrics, but I modified the scales. Here is an example of what I am doing. Using the scales I modified, I estimate the percentage cover of the herb species within this 1 by 1 meter frame. And I will also use a fisheye lens to capture canopy structure. But since I don't have yet the camera, I borrowed a picture from the internet. And using this data, I want to know how different canopy structure in the fragments affect microclimate and herbaceous cover. And I will also be using this picture to calculate the light intensity coming in under the canopy cover. And finally, to measure microclimate variable at this measuring temperature and humidity, I'll be setting a data logger to each fragment or to each plot to record to record the temperature and humidity for at least more than a year. Yeah, and that's for now about my research plan. I apologize for not making it clear for now, since I'm still on the initial stage of my research. Yeah, thank you to everyone.